Is out filling in the man the teachers unions love to hate. Tony Kinnett from Chalkboard Review, former administrator and educator. Is it okay to say former?
Yeah, it's former. I mean, I do a little bit of education auditing on the side, a little bit of training new school board members and, making sure that science curriculum hasn't completely gone to the birds.
Right. I'm going to play some audio from a woman named Becky Pringle here.
Oh,
in a
what
second.
a legend.
She is head of the NEA, the National Education Association. That's the biggest teachers union in America, right? Am I correct in describing it?
Yes, the NEA is larger than the AFT, which is the union that Randy Weingarten heads.
So we were talking off the air a little bit about how the NEA doesn't like you. You are, I think, probably most well known for exposing critical race theory. Is it curricula or curriculum, depending on the context of how
curriculum, which is the stuff that you're learning, and then it's also pedagogy, which is how you learn it or how it's taught to you.
Okay, so you sort of expose you're automatically an oppressor. If you are a certain color, if you're another color, you're automatically oppressed ideology that was being thrust down thrust into the minds of students in Indiana. Specifically, you worked for IPS, correct?
Yes, confirming that Indianapolis Public Schools, if they see some kind of disparity between the average white student score and the average black student score, they immediately assume systemic racism. Mm-hmm. They do huge pledges about it. I mean, Shortridge High School has their teachers do the Black Lives Matter pledge every year, and Butler Lab 55 took 6 months off to do a racial equity project, 6 months off from all of their classes. So things are fine over there.
Your background is you testified in front of the state legislature about CRT, and you went on several of the talk shows, including Tucker Carlson. You were eventually dismissed from your role as an administrator from IPS, right?
Yes, I've got 2 master's degrees in education, studied critical race theory at the graduate level for 8 years, and that wasn't good enough. They were very upset that I had the audacity to go on Tucker Carlson, that I had the horrible chutzpah to quote the director of racial equity, Pat Payne, when she called all of the teachers at IPS white supremacists.
Wow.
Including the not white teachers at IPS.
And I'm going somewhere with this because the NEA is in the news. So how do you feel about teachers unions in general? I don't really have much knowledge of how powerful they are here in Indiana specifically. I mean, my kids got back to school right away during the pandemic. I was actually very happy. I thought they should have been in school much quicker, but I think, pick your battles. My kids during the pandemic were back in school ASAP, August of 2020. And I know the teachers unions in some other areas of the country had much more of a say and were much more powerful. What about the ones in Indiana? Like, do they have, as you put it, chutzpah?
Well, the ISTA is a division of the NEA, and they don't really have a whole lot of power anymore. They don't really do anything for teachers either. Actually, there's a letter that goes out from the Attorney General to teachers every single year that says if you get in any kind of trouble, the state of Indiana will represent you in that lawsuit. So they don't really do as much collective bargaining as they used to. They don't actually provide any marketable service. Occasionally, they do provide a little bit of fudge, like a little gift basket of fudge for their teachers in the spring.
I remember that.
But that's $700 a year for nothing. So teachers' unions are not what they used to be. They don't actually do anything functional or helpful to any teachers out there except, nothing like being, paying someone $700 a year to tell you to vote Democrat.
But in terms of the national organizations like the NEA, they're the biggest teachers, right? They're bigger than the Weingarten's outfit.
They're large. They have a lot of funding. They have massive publications. They have a lot of influence over a lot of congressional races and action. They have one of the largest donation pools to Democrats in the country.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Of the $895,000 donated money donated this cycle, they've given money to 3 House Republicans and just $2,000 to 1 Republican senator. The rest went to Democrats.
Oh, and they're very, very open about that.
They donated millions to politicians. The vast majority of spending goes to Democrats.
Absolutely.
Right? And again, we're going somewhere with this. I got some amazing audio that I'm going to play for you from Becky Pringle, who's the head of the NEA.
I'm really not excited.
No, you're gonna want to hear this. It's literally off the rails. But one of the things that the NEA is doing is they have a proposal to change the word mother to birthing parent in their contracts that they put out there. So, and there are several Democratic senators who are backing this, but are staying silent on it when asked about it. So, like I said, many Democrats received thousands of dollars, $10,000 in the NEA for their campaigns for the November midterm election. And so, but everybody's kind of staying silent on this. You know, you change the word mother to birthing parent in contracts. That doesn't surprise you at all.
Well, I mean, of course not. There's this incredible, dichotomy that's currently going on the left, in which you have the people who are very pro-trans, who want to change all of the language that, woman, mother, all of that to non-binary, to some weird, ambiguous language. And then you have all of the hardcore third-wave feminists who say, no, it's very important to be a woman, and being a woman is the most important thing that you can be, and we have to protect women's this and women's that. And those two groups don't get along because they can't agree on basic definitions. And that's coming to bear right now. So, of course, you don't want Democrat senators coming out and supporting one thing and losing half the suburban woman vote. That's not going to go very well.
So, like I said, the leader of the head of the NEA, Becky Pringle, was speaking at this. She delivered the keynote address at their assembly in Chicago a couple of days ago.
It's a nice, safe city.
And you know what? I'm just going to let the audio speak for itself. Go ahead and play this first clip here.
We've known since 2016, since that fateful election, that this day would come, that we would feel the effects of a radicalized Supreme Court issuing decisions that do not reflect the views or the values of America.
They don't?
From decisions on school prayer that attack religious freedom, to vouchers that threaten the right to a universal public education, to the long-term devastating impact of the Supreme Court's decision to hijack the fundamental freedom to decide for ourselves when and how to have a family and the care that we need.
So my question is, why is Becky Pringle, the head of the NEA, talking on her pulpit there in front of the assembly about abortion? And why is she talking about, radicalized Supreme Court? And obviously she hates religious freedom and she hates school prayer.
Oh, of course.
That's obvious. But why is she, did she say anything about school safety or the quality of the education their kids are getting? Is that...
Well, no, because then you would actually have to start measuring metrics on what specifically they're doing to increase the outcome of education and academic ability of the students. And they can't do that because everything the union touches dies. What I think is really funny, though, here is I want to know what discount community college speech class she went to speak like that. And we must go on. I was moved.
You were moved? Were your bowels moved?
Yeah. The only movement there was a bowel movement.
Let me play one more clip here. She's sort of wrapping it up again. This is Becky Pringle, the head of the biggest, the largest teachers union in the United States, talking in front of her assembly in Chicago.
We will fight unceasingly for the rights of our LGBTQ plus students and educators. We will say gay, we will say trans, we will use the words that validate our students and their families, words that encourage them to walk in their authenticity, to love themselves fully, to become who they are meant to be.
Oh.
You will not be defeated. You will never give up. You will never give in. Every day, all day, we will remember who we are. Delegates, lift up your heads. We are the NEA. We are the NEA.
We're going to California and Texas and New York.
Yeah,
we're going to South Dakota and Oregon.
I was
and
actually...
Washington.
waiting for someone to go, and this is our Independence Day. And everyone's like, yeah, we're going to kill the aliens. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, okay, so if you're like the average, everyday, normal teacher, you just want to go and make a living and make a difference in kids' lives, and you look up and watch the leader of the head of the teachers union, and like if you're just a normal, I meet normal teachers, man. Like my teachers are like down to earth, cool rock stars. I'm just wondering what they're thinking. Wait, that's my representative up there acting like a complete lunatic, like Howard Dean.
I mean, have you ever been in a restaurant when someone starts to act out and make a scene?
Yes.
It's really inappropriate, and everyone just kind of stops.
Yeah.
And you can feel the silent judgment because it's incredibly inappropriate. So this is supposed to be an education professional. Now, let's not just say it's only her. The NEA has a history of hiring ridiculous people. The ISTA had to ask to step down their recently elected vice president because, this teacher from Hamilton Southeastern was griping about Asian women while he was in the classroom on Twitter. But this kind of behavior is expected from these types because they don't have any actual statistical data to back up with, nothing that really commonly resonates. So she's hyperventilating into the microphone. And did you hear during the her talk about LGBTQ?
Yeah, she
funneled up the words. She didn't even know what the letters are
Nobody
anymore.
ever gets that part right. Nobody ever gets that part right at all.
It changes faster than like a junior hire's outfits. It's ridiculous.
And there's a plus in there, and there's an I.
Some symbols.
Yeah.
I think, what is the font? Wingdings. I think I saw like a hot dog and a spaceship somewhere down the line.
Hey, Matt Bear, what's up with traffic?
All right, Mount Comfort Road ramps have reopened to I-70 to westbound I-70. That work is done. The entire project is not adding a travel lane to I-70 before Mount Comfort Road over to State Road 9. Looking at the east side, southbound 465 stop and go from 70 down to South Shadeland. Northbound 65 up from the south side, slow Southport Road to 465. Traffic sponsored by Panera. New Chef's chicken sandwiches from Panera. Pan-seared chicken, Parmesan crisp, and pickled chips all in a buttery brochet roll. Try one for only $1 delivery fee when you order on their app. Restrictions apply. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Coming up on the... we are the NEA! We are the NEA! Some news on the U.S. job market. Did that perform better than expected in the last month? We'll get down to the bottom of it right after this. I don't even know what the temperature is right now, so I kind of screwed up there. 76 in rain. Wow. Cooled off a little bit.
That's my kind of weather.
Yeah, 76. The American Standard Cooling Weather Center, 93 WIBC.
Do you need air conditioning service? Need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like B&W Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Hey, Indiana, baseball season is in full swing. You know this. There's no better place to bet on America's pastime than FanDuel Sportsbook. And right now, new customers, pay close attention to this one. New customers, download the app, use my promo code WIBC. You'll get $150 in free bets, guaranteed, when you place your first $5 bet. So just sign up with promo code WIBC to get in on the action. You could place a $5 bet on the Cardinals they play tonight, place a $5 bet on the Yankees. You place a $5 bet on tennis or soccer or anything. Just place that $5 bet, and you'll automatically get $150 in free bets guaranteed. Just join with promo code WIBC and turn a $5 bet into $150 in free bets, win or lose. You can bet on your favorite baseball teams. You can bet on golf. Just as long as you place that $5 bet, you're going to get that $150 in free bets guaranteed, win or lose. Must be 21 plus in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Diamonds Direct is making your summer shine with their store-wide summer sale. Get ready. It's July 15th through the 17th. The entire weekend, enjoy extra savings. 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices on a multi-million-dollar selection of rings, earrings, bands, bracelets. Virtually everything's on sale. Plus, top jewelry designers flying in with all new collections. It's the buying opportunity of the season. Extra savings store-wide. Mark your calendar. July 15th through 17th only. And only at Diamonds Direct. Details and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Elizabeth Warren, they're all attacking America's tech innovators. The left's bill, S-2992, would take away the digital tools small businesses rely on. empower China to beat America in the race for new technologies, and increase the risk of cyber attacks. When liberals attack America's tech innovators, they're really attacking everyday Americans and Main Street businesses. American jobs, America's security, and the online privacy of the American people are all on the line. Why would Senate conservatives support this liberal agenda that threatens American innovation? We need to stop Pelosi, Schumer, Warren, and the rest of the D.C. liberals from taking away our technology and making China stronger at America's expense. Call the U.S. Senate today at 202-224-3121. Tell Senate Republicans to oppose S-2992. ProtectingTaxpayers.org, paid for and authorized by Taxpayers Protection Alliance.
Hi, I'm Joe Clark, host of Consider This, found right here Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. Grab a cup of coffee and join me as we talk about things you should consider affecting your financial future.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers, corporate electronic recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by this weekend's Indianapolis Early Music Festival. Visit iemusic.org for tickets today.
And we're back.
The Hammer and Nigel Show, 93 WIBC.
My name is Nigel. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review, filling in for Hammer. Several things to get to, including the job market and what happened with jobs last month. Man, first of all, did you see? I didn't watch it. I couldn't bring myself to watch it. The assassination of Shinzo Abe, the former Japanese prime minister.
It's incredibly tragic.
He was giving a speech, and a guy with a homemade gun got to him and killed him. And first of all, the way I understand in Japan, it's like guns are non-existent.
Right.
And this guy got a hold of, again, a homemade gun. They tackled him. They arrested him. And he was a pretty popular guy.
And he's the former prime minister. He's not even the current one.
Yeah, he was, I think, one of the longest-serving prime ministers in Japan. He had to step down. He was prime minister in 2012, stepped down for health reasons, came back, and then left a year or two ago. And man, I didn't even want to watch that footage.
And just as a personal note, I always admired him because he was the kind of prime minister who got up in front of the nation and said, "You know what? You guys are watching too much porn. Go have kids because our birth rate's declining." And he just said that into the camera, and I was like, "Now that is a man right there."
He said, "You guys are watching too much porn?"
Yes, that's a sociological issue in Japan, is that too many young men are satisfied watching porn and like cartoon babies. Porn. Yeah, and they're not actually going out and raising a family. Japan's birth rate's declining because of it.
Well, it's funny how different outlets describe Shinzo, because he was a pretty popular prime minister, and Trump liked him, Obama liked him.
Yeah, with
Biden
both the left and the right in Japan and Southeast Asia.
What did NPR say?
Oh my goodness. So to clarify, this is how NPR described Fidel Castro when he passed away. They said, "One of the most prominent international figures in the last half of the 20th century, Castro inspired both passionate love and hate. Many who later lost faith in him can remember how once they admired the man, blah, blah, blah." This is how they characterized the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe right after the assassination occurred. Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, a divisive arch-conservative and one of the nation's most powerful and influential figure. He just passed away, and supposedly nonpartisan NPR, which receives federal funding, is covering it this way.
Are you sure that wasn't Adam Schefter?
Oh, thanks for the bad taste in my mouth. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, Adam Schefter's been known to put a negative comment or two out there after an athlete dies. Okay, so the U.S. job market performing better than expected in the month of June, Tony. 372,000 jobs added last month, which I guess that's nearly back to pre-pandemic levels. Unemployment rate steady at 3.6. Does this give you hope that we're not headed for a recession after all?
No.
One piece of good news out of many months of.
You're right that it is a piece of good news. I have no complaints about the present job market. I'm happy that there are jobs. I am. I'm thrilled that people are going to work and that parts of the economy are starting to move again. However, inflation is still going to have to be reckoned with. We printed money around the clock. And not to mention all of our aid packages to whomever asks. That is going to have to be reckoned with in the economy, but I'm thrilled to see, people being back to work. I guess this is a two things can be true kind of situation.
Yeah, and funny how Biden always touts, wage gains. Oh, man, wages are going up. Wage gains. But, when the price of gas is double and your grocery bill is double, that doesn't really work out. The math is kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, inflation is up 7%, but you got a 3% raise. So I only lost 4% of my wages this year.
Are you a Batman guy?
I was a big fan of the Christopher Nolan Batman films.
I was too, the Christian Bale versions.
But ever since then, DC just kind of fell off for me. I liked the way Marvel did it more. DC is too cheesy for me.
That was the Ben Affleck representation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen him.
And you didn't see the Robert Pattinson version that was on HBO Max.
I saw clips because some of my friends that write commentary on just writing in general, movie writing and things like that, and they sent some interesting stuff over.
It was, the Pattinson character was more more emo Batman than anything. Staring longingly into the camera, very morose and depressed and sad.
Give me your wide shot.
And it happens for some reason in Gotham. The lighting's bad 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It is New Jersey.
It's raining. It's always dark. But okay, so the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale. Those are your favorites. But what about pre-Christopher Nolan? Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah.
Who are the Batmans?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
I'm sorry, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, as Joe Biden would say. And then George Clooney. Did I say George Clooney?
Oh, yeah, George
and then
Clooney.
I think, which is generally considered the worst of those out of all those Batmans?
George Clooney.
George Clooney.
No, there's
the Batman
classic
Robin?
show Batman.
Adam West.
No, but I'm talking about the modernized, even the ones in the 80s. But those versions of Batman with Michael Keaton and George Clooney and Val Kilmer were all pretty bad. No, I take that back. Michael Keaton with Jack Nicholson as a Joker.
I knew what you were trying to say. Oh, yeah, Jack Nicholson is the Joker. Great casting.
The Batman costume worn by George Clooney.
The really tight one?
In Batman and Robin, it has those exaggerated plastic nipples.
I was
ready
to say that's the one where they... Yeah, my man knows. It scars you for life.
Plastic nipples.
Is that Harrison Silcox? Do we have an official Harrison Silcox soundboard now?
I have a Harrison Silcox soundboard going, and yesterday he said
plastic nipples.
So anyway, this George Clooney's Batman suit from Batman and Robin. Who was Robin? Chris O'Donnell? Was that the character's name?
Yes,
you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going up for auction and a starting bid of $40,000.
$40,000 for that thing?
I wouldn't pay 40 cents for it.
No, I'd figured they'd probably sold it at Party City by now.
Other props from the Batman movies going up for auction, including the walking cane used by Jim Carrey's Riddler in Batman Forever.
Okay, I've always wanted to ask this question. It's never been a better time to ask this. During the Christopher Nolan Batman era, the perfect Riddler would have been Neil Patrick Harris.
Interesting.
He was doing the Suits and the How I Met Your Mother thing at the time, and someone made some kind of fake mock poster of it, and I wanted it so bad.
The guy that was the Riddler in... What is it? The Batman?
Yeah, he did a really good job.
That
the
was really
Batman,
good.
like the Ohio State. They had the in front of it.
This is the one with Robert Pattinson in it.
Yeah.
So $40,000 for the George Clooney Batman costume up for auction. We'll see if it gets that high. We'll be right back. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
This is a call to the self-starters, to the self-made, and the self-sufficient. It's time to declare a new kind of independence. Because Edelman Financial Engines is here to provide tailored investment solutions for your kind of wealthy. You should expect more from your wealth advisors. Our investment management approach is based on Nobel Prize-winning research, and our planners don't sell products to earn commissions. And because we're here for those who question the answers, we model more than 38,000 securities so we can better stress test your portfolio through thousands of scenarios. So no matter where you're going next, see what we can build for you. Call 888-899-4450 That's 888-899-4450 or visit efewealthplanners.com to get your complimentary financial plan. Edelman Financial Engines, built for those who built themselves.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Lose your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, July 28th at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Fishers. Weight loss seminar 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 to 10 p.m. And Saturday, July 30th at the La Quinta Inn and Suites South in Indianapolis. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 to 4 p.m. Registration begins 30 minutes before seminar.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A former police officer indicted. Cloudy and 76 on Monument Circle. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:32. A former Newcastle police officer was indicted Thursday for using excessive force. Aaron Strong violated the civil rights of 3 people he assaulted and hurt while they were being arrested. Each charge could land him 10 years in prison. The indictment also listed another charge of witness tampering, which could cost him another 20 years. President Joe Biden announced Friday new steps to protect abortion access after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
President Biden signed executive orders to ensure access to abortion medication and direct federal agencies to educate medical providers and insurers about patient privacy laws as women seek abortion care beyond state lines. But he says the most long-standing action Americans can take is at the ballot box.
Well, for God's sake, there's an election in November. Vote, 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 vote.
The president says he'd veto legislation that would impose a nationwide abortion ban. He has signaled support for proposals from Democrats to codify Roe into law. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The president also visited the Japanese embassy in Washington today to sign a condolence book after former Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated. The town of Trafalgar relies on commercial water haulers to get people the water they need. Lately, though, there's growing concern that someone's been stealing water from those haulers.
I have seen certain individuals have sent me videos and pictures of people that have been on hydrants.
That's the president of the Trafalgar Town Council, Jessica Jones, speaking to Wish TV. The Trafalgar utility supervisor resigned Tuesday, and the council will have a special meeting next week. Rainy today, but a nice weekend ahead.
We'll get a nice break this weekend, so we'll have lots of sun Saturday and Sunday, but temperatures are only going to be in the low 80s or so it'll be a very pleasant weekend.
Andrew White with the National Weather Service. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:34.
Tony Katz for Moss Roofing, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com, the family-owned business in its second generation of taking care of the roofs of Indianapolis and all over central Indiana. They do full roof replacements, residential or commercial. You've got storm damage, you talk to Moss Roofing. And their financing, they've got a plan that works for everybody's budget. So yes, now is the time to get that roof taken care of. And if you need siding, they work with James Hardy Siding. We're talking about the low maintenance, fully painted, 15-year warranty on the finish, James Hardy Siding. When you go to sell your home, your house is going to be worth more money because you will have increased the value with James Hardy Siding. And it holds up better in the Indianapolis weather. Talk to the family at Moss Roofing today. 317-784-3227. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 784-3227. 784-3227 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
With traffic, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, looking at the west side, it's a crash on the ramp from northbound 465 to westbound 74 involving a semi. Part of the semi-trailer is rolled and the right 2 ramp lanes are blocked, leaving only the left lane. That's going to cause a slowdown if you're heading out to Brownsburg. And way on the other side of the world in Hancock County, the ramps have reopened. Mount Comfort Road to westbound 70, they are open and ready to go. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland, drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. High of 80 today with a chance for some rain tonight. Some of those storms could be severe but should clear out Saturday morning. Low tonight is 67, 75 right now. I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
The key to being happy isn't to search for meaning. It's to just keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense.
On 93 WIBC.
My name is Nigel. Tony Kinnett's filling in for Hammer. Joining us also in studio, Abdul Hakim Shabazz, attorney at law and writer for IndyPolitics.org, political insider here.
And back from Alaska.
And just back from Alaska. Welcome back. While you were gone, something big concerning the Supreme Court happened. I don't know if you were aware, but the Roe versus Wade decision was overturned. And actually, you know what? Let's start there. The Supreme Court was hearing the Dobbs case, right? That's out of Mississippi.
Yeah.
And the Dobbs versus the Women's Health Center or something like that was challenging the 15-week threshold for abortions. Looking back on it now, do you think Democrats kind of stepped on their own feet here in challenging this? Because of this ruling, let's go to the Supreme Court and the overly conservative Supreme Court, and now Roe v. Wade got overturned, and it all has to do with because the 15-week threshold, which a lot of states adopted, right?
Well, the thing is, we look at the abortion. I look at the abortion issue like I look at sort of the gun issue. That the strong believers on both sides of that issue will always do a challenge. So whether it's like a minor gun restriction or abortion or reproductive rights restriction, they're going to fight because they don't want that line to be moved. Now, the flip side is when you go to court, anything can sometimes happen.
It blew up in their faces.
Yes, it did. Now, the thing is, I tend to disagree with the court's decision because I think there is a right to privacy under the Ninth Amendment jurisprudence, which basically means rights you don't have enumerated in the Constitution doesn't mean you don't have them, but that's a whole other legal issue for a whole...
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and debate I can't do a pro-choice, pro-life debate.
But what I do think it's interesting to know is what's happening at the state level. See, now this issue has been turned back over
to the states.
To the states.
And some states like Missouri, I think Kentucky, already had trigger laws in place where if Roe v. Wade gets overturned, they ban or heavily restrict abortion. But that's not what happened here, right?
No, not here. No, here, Indiana lawmakers are still trying to figure out what exactly it is they're going to do because it's like the perfect example. I used this on when I was on with Kendall and Casey today. Is back in '95 when I started out as a political reporter in Springfield, Illinois. There was this totally hot chick I was madly in love with.
Was it your wife?
No, it wasn't my wife. This is like 30 years ago.
Okay,
so long before I met the lovely Mrs. Shabazz.
Yeah,
and so we kind of flirted with each other back and forth for almost like 10 years. And then one day we're all out having martinis. She's like, "Hey, Abdul, you know what? I'm ready to date you now." I'm like, "What? Huh?"
You were expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that. And so for my Republican friends, particularly in Indiana, who've been heavily pro-life, you're like the dog that caught the car. It's like, okay, now you finally got it. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to do exemptions for the life of the mother? Are you going to do rape or incest? Are you going to do 15 weeks or 20 weeks or a few weeks? What about the abortion Medicaid pills? Are you going to make it? Are you going to punish the woman, the doctor? There are a lot of other things that beforehand you couldn't. You could say I'm pro-life and I believe we should get rid of abortion. Okay, that's fine. It's a perfect example. Go back to like 6-7 years ago when the courts legalized gay marriage. I jokingly say every gay man who was with a partner, like, "Honey, I'd love to marry you, but I can't do it because, it's illegal." Well, guess what? Now it's legal. So, oh, crap. Now what are we going to do? So I think it's the same thing with sort of the abortion issue. It's like, okay, the dog finally got the car. What are you going to do? Because it's a lot more complicated than people think.
Oh, I understand the complication. I understand even waiting a few weeks. But what is different to me is that there were already states that had trigger laws. They were ready to go.
Well, Indiana never had a trigger law.
Oh, no, I understand that. But they didn't have one in place. Like, it's just like with medical marijuana and the legalization. We've talked about this for a couple of years now. You suggest that the state legislature have a trigger law in place or, so they can just flip the switch and automatically let people begin to use marijuana, whether it be recreationally or medicinal purpose. It seems like the Republicans in Indiana, not not so much in Florida, not so much in Missouri, but it seems like they were caught flat-footed here. And I just want to know, like, why? Why were they ready in Missouri but not Indiana?
Well, like
you
I
know
said,
what I'm saying?
Well, like I said, Missouri has always sort of had that trigger law, and Indiana doesn't have the trigger law. And actually, there's some issues. There's some issues with the trigger laws because it kind of gets into sort of the legal weeds of everything, because the trigger laws may have run afoul of some of their state constitutions. So from that perspective, not having a trigger law doesn't necessarily not bother me, because I would rather lawmakers do the thoughtful approach to dealing with this issue, because it's going to be, like I said, number one, it's going to be extremely complicated. And number two, you got people sort of all over the map.
What's your prediction? I mean, what do you think the consensus is going to be? Is it going to be the 15-week threshold? I mean, I think it's 20 or 22 weeks
From
now.
Lawmakers that I've spoken to sort of on background, they gave me their position, but it said, just don't use my name. It looks like there's going to be an exemption for the mom's life is in danger, which makes sense.
Of course.
Also, looks like there'll be exemptions for rape and incest. After that, it gets a little weird, a little tricky, because I think they're probably going to move the 20-week portion back to maybe like 15 weeks. Which
I saw a stat the other day. I think over 90% of abortions take place in this country within that 15-week threshold anyway.
Yeah, within the 15-week window. And also, there's a question, will Indiana try to ban the medicine that's used for abortion, which actually kind of goes back to the marijuana argument, because the medical abortions, those drugs are approved by the FDA and they're legal at the federal level. And so would Indiana try to ban them at the state level, which would just sort of be the opposite of the marijuana debate, because marijuana is legal at the federal level, but folks want to legalize it at the state level.
I got to tell you, I lean right, and I mean, this is an easy debate for some and not so easy for others, but toying with the idea of making it illegal for a woman to cross state lines to get an abortion really does not sound like something that Republicans want to do. Or let me rephrase it. It doesn't sound like something they should do. Because here's why. Because take the W, take the win. You've got what you wanted. Over the past 50 years, you've worked, you've voted, you've done grassroots, you've fundraised. You got the win here. There's, like you said, some complicated issues that, like, you know, putting somebody in jail for crossing state lines to do something that's legal there doesn't sound like a good idea to me, and good optics for the Republicans.
It's a bad idea, and actually it may violate the Indiana state constitution, because in the Indiana state constitution says you have the right to immigrate. In other words, you have the right to leave the state.
Sure. Yeah.
And so if you're trying to criminalize people leaving the state of Indiana to go exercise their reproductive rights or any other rights, it's going to be an issue, it's going to be a problem.
Speaking with Abdul Lakeem Shabazz, what do you think has been the response, I guess the difference in response from politicians, Democrats, in terms of Roe v. Wade and the polling that's been done and what Americans here are actually concerned with, and how is it going to move the meter?
I think it'll move the needle on the fringes. But if I was a Republican, what I'd be worried about, if this actually happened 4th of July weekend up in your neck of the woods, up in Boone County, up in Lebanon, several women were marching in the 4th of July parade, and they dressed like women from The Handmaid's Tale. And so what they
really?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
This is Lebanon. They dressed like women from The Handmaid's Tale. And but here's what happened though. When they were expecting to be booed when they kind of walk through the crowd, but they weren't. Actually, they got a lot more cheers than they thought. And for me, it's situations like that are more telling about where sort of attitudes are on the abortion issue than just a protest rally at the State House with 200 people.
Yeah, I mean that's anecdotal too. And when I like to do the eyeball test, and for me the ensuing days after Roe v. Wade, it seemed a little flat. I mean, there was violence in Los Angeles and big surprise Portland, and some big protests. There was one here on Monument Circle. There was a protest yesterday, but it just doesn't. I think the early release of that draft, that leak over the Roe v. Wade draft, really kind of blunted the shock for a lot of people.
Took a lot of steam out of it. I agree.
And it just so Democrats. I mean, Joe Biden just signed some executive order protecting some access to abortion. I don't know exactly what that involves. But in terms of getting people out to the polls, I don't think it's the main thing that people are concerned with. I think it's gas prices, inflation, the economy. I mean, those are the big three, right?
I think the abortion issue helps Democrats in suburban areas. We have a lot of suburban sort of Republican women who are big on their reproductive freedom. I think in those suburban areas, this may actually move the needle one way or the other.
All right. So maybe not a red tsunami, but a red wave in the midterms.
Yeah, at least today. But talk to me tomorrow. Could have a totally different story about that.
Have you? I saw that you had a poll on pro-choice poll, pro-choice, pro-life.
Yeah, I did an informal survey on the abortions just to see where Hoosiers were, but it got hijacked by the Indiana Democratic Progressives.
Oh,
and I can tell when my poll gets hijacked because I have like 400 or 500 responses. They're sort of where I expect the responses to be.
Yeah.
Then I'll get a big giant jump, which tells me, okay, somebody sent out an email.
So what do? Do you not publish those results then, since it's just kind of this informal thing, or how does that work?
What I do is I go back, and I got to do this weekend, is I go back and look at my poll and look for the day where all the responses really spike, and then I just cut it off right there, because this was an informal survey. We'll be doing something more formal in September. But for my informal survey, I look for the big giant spike, then I just sort of cut it off there and throw out the rest of the responses.
Do you have a show this weekend?
Yes, we're talking to the chairman of the Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian parties, and also our good friend Matt Sosi on what's playing in the movie theaters this summer.
All right, that's 1 to 3 this Saturday. Abdul Hakim Shabazz, thanks, buddy.
Hey, thank you, my friend.
We'll be right back. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
He's Big Joe for Absolute Comfort, your trusted independent American Standard Air dealer. The owner is Chris Wettikin, and he sells the ductless Mitsubishi Electric Mini Split, which is a great way to heat and cool specific rooms in your home with geothermal efficiency and very low energy cost.
We have the low wall mount systems, we have high wall mount systems, and if you just don't want to see the unit, we have flush mount systems that can be built into the ceiling.
Check out the latest technology at AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted independent American Standard Air Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet for $30 a month with no annual contract required. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Call or go online today to learn more. Offer ends 8/28/2022. Restrictions apply. Enrollment in EcoBill and autopay required. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Equipment, installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most RootMetrics 5G data reliability wins in 2H 2021. Results may vary. Award is not an endorsement.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally.
Treat yourself to unique live music this weekend. The 56th Indianapolis Early Music Festival entertains and enriches you with timeless, beautiful music from early eras. Visit iemusic.org for info and tickets.
Mortgage interest rates have started to drop, but you need to get locked in today. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com. Home of the 10-day closing guarantee.
NMLS number 1326241.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Matthew Beauregard Bear, what's up with traffic?
All right, Nigel, looking at the south side. Crash eastbound 465 at Emerson. That's the fast lane right now. Traffic stop back to I-65, and then northbound 65 slow to come up from Edgewood to 465. And a semi crash on the ramp from northbound 465 to westbound 74 on the west side. Ramp is open, but barely. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road, or on North Shadeland, DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
76 and rain at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center, 93 WIBC.
I think it's awesome.
The Hammer and Nigel Show on 93 WIBC.
You rock.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes
My name is Nigel. Tony Kinnett is filling in for Jason Hammer. Tony Kinnett from Chalkboard Review. Remind us again what Chalkboard Review does and what it is.
Chalkboard Review is a heterodox education publication, which means we don't censor whether you're a homeschool parent, a classroom teacher, or an education professor. We want to publish your takes, your opinions, that kind of a thing, and we don't censor you based on ideological views. And hey, 100,000 monthly readers can't be wrong. We just crossed that number yesterday, so I'm clear to say that on air.
This is chalkboardreview.com?
Yeah, chalkboardreview.com. You can find us there. Find us on socials at chalkboardrev. And if you're really sadistic, you can follow me on Twitter at TheTonus.
And let's not forget another Twitter account of yours, the Ministry of Truth.
At US Mini True. You can see me ratio CNN, MSNBC, and the Washington Post into oblivion.
Oh, and that's you've got like almost 300,000 followers on that.
We are, and we've made Brian Stelter cry twice on CNN over it. He has complained about us twice on national television.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
Well, one time he had Nina Jankowicz on.
Describe what Ministry of Truth is. Your parody account of.
So earlier this year, the Biden administration launched the U.S. Disinformation Governance Board, a project by the Department of Homeland Security that was basically supposed to track speech online and label it false or dangerous, which is very Orwellian. Book 1984. Sure. The Ministry of Truth, as it was called, did the same thing. And so I made up an account. Actually, I made up a seal first. I like seals and flags and that kind of junk because I'm a huge nerd. And kind of made the Twitter account on a lark. And yeah, now it's got 281,000 followers. The U.S. Disinformation Board has been shuffled away quietly. Nina Jankowicz was dismissed. And
she said something about the parody account?
Brian Stelter had her on.
She was a
CNN.
weirdo, dude.
Oh, insane. The Mary Poppins lady.
Yeah.
Had her on CNN to talk about the project. And they talked about our Twitter account and the angry, hateful rhetoric that it spewed. Yeah, tweeting things like birds aren't real. They're just battery-powered drones. That's hate speech, as you know.
Okay. A new study is the first to prove, beyond a reasonable doubt. I could have told you this without spending any money whatsoever, knowing my wife. But a new study is the first to prove that being, quote, hangry is a real thing. People were 34% angrier and 37% more irritable when they were hungry, according to this study.
Do you know why they did this study? Because they do studies for anything. Now, everyone knew this. Everyone has known this for ages. Like, has anyone been married?
Oh, man.
You walk into the room and your wife is upset. You're like, what's wrong? She goes, nothing. And you're like, when did you eat last?
Yeah.
And then you solve it. She eats. She's happy. You're happy.
That's all it takes. I mean, there's a Snickers. Isn't there a Snickers commercial that's a
parody?
You're
not you when you're hungry.
Yeah, exactly. So, they commissioned a study being hangry. And I'll admit, if I'm running on E, and especially in the morning time, I haven't had any lunch. I'm a little short with people and had too many beers the night before. Anyway, that really puts me in a place where I just need a little food. But my wife will openly admit it, and she'll warn me about it. And she'll say, look, you don't want to go there right now. I haven't had a lot to eat, and just do what I ask, please. Just go clean up the laundry room.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't actually know anyone that I'm aware of that wouldn't admit that when your blood sugar gets low, you can be cranky. I wanted some guy actually pitched this because you have to pitch studies, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to it's like, well, we believe that we can prove beyond our shadow of a doubt that indeed, when your blood sugar is low, you act different. Like, yeah, well done, Copernicus.
Coming up After 4 o'clock, a new revelation about Joe Biden and sending a ton of oil overseas, 1 million barrels of which went to China. Something.
Wait a minute. You mean while we're in the middle of a shortage?
Oh yeah.
While we're paying $5-6 at the pump?
It's funny. Hunter Biden may or may not have something to do with the Chinese company that some of these barrels went to. There might be a connection there. You're not going to believe this. We'll explain it next on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Think back to when back or neck pain didn't rule your life. Now, think about standing up to back pain today. Because you can. With highly skilled care from IU Health, Indiana's only nationally ranked healthcare system. Our spine experts use an integrated approach to care and the latest surgical and non-surgical methods, so you can move away from back pain and on with life. Schedule a safe in-office appointment or visit us virtually at iuhealth.org/spine program.
Mark Diedel's definitely the only real estate agent I'd trust to sell my home. Take Paul and Teresa in Edinburgh, for example. They needed to move out of town, but first they needed to get top dollar on their existing home to afford the move. Now, here's the thing. They had 21 acres out of the city, so it wasn't an easy sale. They reached out to Mark Dietel, heard about him on our show. He listed and sold their home in a few weeks for $60,000 over their asking price.
Call the only agent that we recommend on the Hammer and Nigel Show, Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel guarantees multiple offers in 3 days for full market value, or he will list it for free. That is the Mark Dietel guarantee. Call Mark Dietel today, 317-755-4232. That's 755-4232. Or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel, markdietel.com.
Hubler has it, savings. Hubler has it, choices.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
In the construction business and can't find what you need? Quality Supply and Tool has served Hoosiers for over a quarter of a century. Tom Hawk is the branch manager of the Indy location on South Harding Street.
We've always been big on keeping our shelves fully stocked of inventory of industrial-grade tools, concrete, masonry products, as well as the necessary accessories to help get the job done. You don't have it, you can't sell it. Our experience allows us to help with getting the pros as well as the weekend pro taken care of.
Quality Supply and Tool also has locations in Bloomington and Jeffersonville to help you think outside the box. Store.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Elizabeth Warren, they're all attacking America's tech innovators. The left's bill, S-2992, would take away the digital tools small businesses rely on, empower China to beat America in the race for new technologies, and increase the risk of cyber attacks. When liberals attack America's tech innovators, they're really attacking everyday Americans and Main Street businesses. American jobs, America's security, and the online privacy of the American people are all on the line. Why would Senate conservatives support this liberal agenda that threatens American innovation? We need to stop Pelosi, Schumer, Warren, and the rest of the D.C. liberals from taking away our technology and making China stronger at America's expense. Call the U.S. Senate today at 202-224-3121. Tell Senate Republicans to oppose S-2992. ProtectingTaxpayers.org, paid for and authorized by Taxpayers Protection Alliance.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what comes after the rain? A former police officer indicted, and John Herrick reports on trouble in Trafalgar. All that and more after Fox News Radio from the Shepherd Community Center studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
President Biden signs an executive order to protect access to abortion. I'm Ann Carrick, Fox News. Co-chair of the White House Gender Policy Council, Jennifer Klein, says a health emergency declaration by the Secretary of Health and Human Services still is an option.
He has the authority to do that at any time. The question is, what authority does he gain by declaring a public health emergency?
The June jobs report exceeds expectations, adding 372,000 jobs, with unemployment remaining at a 50-year low. Secretary of Labor Marty Walsh on Fox Business Varney and Company.
We're seeing some really positive signs here with people going back to work. And the wage growth, the largest gains we're seeing in wage growth, have been historically lower wage workers.
Opponents argue inflation remained near 18% in May compared to wage growth of just 5.1%. Russian President Vladimir Putin with his own inflation warning of catastrophic global market consequences if sanctions against him continue. Arizona is giving out money for private schools. Fox's William LaJeunesse.
School choice has been conservatives' holy grail for decades. This week they achieved it in Arizona. Here's Governor Doug Ducey.
People know we need change and improvement in K-12 education, and we know if we can empower people and empower parents, they'll make better decisions.
1.1 million students, regardless of where they live or family income, is eligible for an almost $7,000 a year voucher that can be used at any private, charter, home, or parochial school. Teacher unions oppose the bill. They're expected to challenge the law by putting the issue to voters.
The funding begins in October. Another well-known actor has died.
60s TV sitcom star Larry Storch has died. A familiar face in such classics as Get Smart and I Dream of Jeannie, Storch was best known for playing Corporal Randolph Agarn in the Western comedy series F Troop. Larry Storch was 99.
Fox's Karen McHugh. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What's next? After some much-needed rain, 76 and cloudy in downtown Indy. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Plenty of rain today, but for the weekend,
just great weather. We're going to have lots of sun, cooler conditions than what we've been having, so it'll be a great weekend to get outside.
Andrew White with the National Weather Service. A former Newcastle police officer was indicted Thursday for using excessive force. Aaron Strong violated the civil rights of 3 people he assaulted and hurt while they were being arrested. Each charge could land him 10 years in prison. The indictment listed another charge of witness tampering. That could cost him 20. People in Trafalgar are upset with how much they're being charged for their water.
And one of those people is Ronald Brock. I'm John Herrick.
I think there's a snake in the grass and he's going to get bit.
Brock tells Wish TV that he's considering a lawsuit.
Well, someone's been doing a crooked deal because there's 4 or 5 haulers in Trafalgar and we're all paying a different price.
The Trafalgar utility supervisor resigned this week. The town council is meeting to discuss this next week. Other leaders in the town believe some of the water's being stolen, and they've asked the police to investigate. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A scam at your doorstep, at least for some people in Elkhart who have been getting packages with their name and address and items inside they didn't order. A person shows up, says it's theirs, and then sent to the victim's house by mistake. After they leave, the victim realizes they're on the hook for the bill. So far, the scams have only happened in Elkhart.
Frequently with scams, they kind of go in cycles, so it is safe to say there probably are people trying this in other areas.
Jessica McBriar, spokesperson for Elkhart Police. $4.81, that's what Gas Buddy says is the average price for gas in Indiana today. That's a 7-cent drop from where it was on Monday. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
You've been talking about the ring. Awesome. So what's next? Come see us at Shane Company and we'll figure it out together. If you know what engagement ring style you want, you're ahead of the game. And if you don't have a clue, no worries. We have tons of new styles and designs in every price range. Same with the Centerstone. We've got a massive selection of diamonds, all shapes, sizes, and prices. Or maybe you want something colorful like a ruby or a sapphire. We have those too. Hand-selected for their beauty and brilliance by Tom Shane himself. We want this to be fun and easy for you guys. Our jewelry consultants don't work on commission, so it's a different kind of vibe here. No one's going to push you to make a decision. You already made one of the biggest decisions of your life. And one more thing, Shane Company offers a free lifetime warranty that even covers the center stone. When it comes to having your jewelry taken care of, you're set for life. By the way, congratulations.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
With traffic at 405, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, on the south side, bad delay. Eastbound 465 from Harding Street over to Emerson Avenue. That's because of a crash on the left shoulder at Emerson. That's also slowing down. Northbound 65 from the south side from Edgewood Avenue up to 465. On the west side, a crash on the ramp northbound 465 to westbound 74. Right, 2 lanes are blocked. Involves a semi, part of the trailer world. Traffic sponsored by DoMyOwnPestControl.com. You need a lawn care pro and a pest control pro. You can have both in one guy. You. DoMyOwn.com will help you get there with pro products, pro knowledge, and pro support. DoMyOwn.com for the pro in you. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Cloudy and cooler tonight as temperatures fall to the 60s. Tomorrow starting your day with clouds and 60-degree temperatures by afternoon. Sunny, dry with high temperatures in the 80s. I'm Storm Track 8 Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown on 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Tony Kennett filling in for Jason Hammer. Tony, his website is called Chalkboard Review. Thank you for filling in today, my man.
It is a pleasure.
So, where should I start with this story? For years during the Trump administration, Democrats were trying to throw Trump and his family in jail. You know, it's hilarious when you think back, Tony, the whole thing with the Steele dossier, the Trump PP video hoax. I mean, it was all fake. There was never any collusion. There's never been any evidence of collusion. Hillary and the DNC commissioned the Steele dossier. Christopher Steele working alongside the Fusion GPS, the FBI, knowing it was phony, used it to get the FISA warrants, spying on Americans, blah, 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 blah. They were going to use that to throw people in jail. They were going to throw Donald Trump Jr. in jail, Don Jr. in jail for meeting with that Russian lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
In some hotel room for 5 minutes in 2016. I mean, just everybody made such a big deal about this. But when Biden sells oil from our emergency reserves to Chinese gas giants that are tied to his scandal-plagued son, and nobody says anything about it. We had this story yesterday, and here's kind of an update. The United States sent 5 million barrels of oil overseas to Asia and other countries from our strategic reserves. And it turns out 1 million of these barrels went to a company that is tied to Hunter Biden. Sinopec is tied to Hunter Biden. It's a private Biden had this private equity firm with like $1 billion at stake in the company several years ago. And nobody's saying anything about it. $1 billion, 1 million barrels of oils. Prices are through the roof, man, right now. I know. I like the AAA. The gas buddy says, well, the prices are slowly going down.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. You know, well, actually, we see it $3.99, and then he's like, it's happening. What do you mean it's happening? 3 is not a number Americans like to see in their gas prices unless it's, $2.03. But I mean,
but Hunter Biden's tied to this Chinese oil company through the private equity firm and the $1.7 billion stake in that company, and the administration sells 1 million barrels of oil to that company.
The bombshell.
The implication is that Hunter has something to gain from this.
Even if Hunter had nothing to do with it at all, the implication that a sitting president of the United States during a time of crisis with huge economic issues, we're facing what could be a recession, inflation's high, Americans are struggling to pay at the pump anyway, and not to mention that every major industry in the United States runs on gas. So if gas is more expensive, food is more expensive because it has to travel on 18-wheel trucks to get there. If you put all of that into, our pile of things to discuss in this, that's bad enough. To sell it to a Chinese company, it's not going to Americans. But in addition, his scandal-ridden son is profiting from this financially?
Potentially, yeah. He's the private equity firm, BHR Partners, bought a $1 billion stake in the company 7 years. Now they're saying Biden, he has nothing to do with that equity firm. Who knows what's going on? But I can damn well tell you for sure that if Don Jr., if Trump sold a bunch of oil out of our strategic reserves to China, to a firm that was tied to Don Jr.
in the middle of a fuel shortage.
Forget China, Russia.
Yeah.
Let's say that happened in Russia in 2017. A million barrels go to Russia, and all of a sudden, Don Jr., the company that those barrels go to, Don Jr. is associated with. What do you think the media response would be?
He would be crucified. And by the way, rightly so. I don't care what president it is. I don't care what party they're for. If you are selling American oil from the strategic reserve,
it's the lowest it's been since '86. By the way,
it's horrific and it's disgusting, and it only gets worse when you consider that we're also in the middle of sending these massive tens of millions of dollars in financial aid over to Ukraine. We're spending money on all of this useless garbage. I don't see what could possibly be the feasible reason for trading away American oil, much less to one that your son might be involved in financially.
Even worse than that is that we have the capability to produce oil if it wasn't for executive orders signed by Joe Biden January of last year, crushing the pipelines, putting massive restrictions on oil refineries, and refineries' ability to refine oil. There's, these executives are saying, we're not going to build any more refineries because of these restrictions.
For all of the Indiana Democrats, for Drew Anderson, their comms director, for all of the blowhards in the Democrat minority in the Indiana Senate and in the Indiana House, who are talking about how, this is just a shortage because of the war. This right here pops that argument like a soap bubble. Because if we're so short on oil, why are we giving away 50 million barrels from our strategic reserve?
It was 5 million.
5 million.
5 million, and then a million went to China, to the company that Hunter Biden was associated with.
There should be no situation in which our strategic reserve is sold to any foreign power whatsoever.
You just think about when Trump was in office. We were the number one exporter of oil in the world. We were energy independent. And that all changed with the stroke of a pen. I believe it was Executive Order 13990. And all of a sudden, we have what's going on now. And the irony is that Joe Biden and the administration wagging their finger at these big oil companies, saying, you need to lower your prices. Government price control is always a great thing, isn't it, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
You need to lower your prices. Well, the reason why you guys are making too much profit, they're making hand over fist. We had Jay Young, who's an oil and gas expert, in here last week. And he said, the oil companies are making hand over fist right now. And it's directly because of Joe Biden's oppressive restrictions in oil and gas. Doesn't that drip with irony to you? The reason they're bringing in the money is because Joe Biden's policies?
And you and I both know that if any of these oil companies was found to be giving a larger portion of the oil that they are currently producing to foreign actors in the middle of the shortage, they would be lambasted as evil, greedy capitalists from every single person on the left. Yet when the Biden administration does it, no one bats an eye.
It's embarrassing, going hat in hand to OPEC and saying, please produce more oil.
Yeah, why are we scheduling meetings with Venezuela, with Saudi Arabia, and their copious amounts of human rights violations that the left apparently cares about, I suppose? It seems to be conditional.
Real quick, I wanted to mention that more than 1,500 of this country's most violent criminals have been taken off the streets. This is a good thing. It's called Operation North Star. One of the good things the Justice Department has done. Operation North Star. Arrests were made in 10 U.S. cities, including here in Indy. 1,500 violent felons off the streets. There were 60 here in Indy between June 1 and June 30th. U.S. Marshals here in the city took more than 60 fugitives, gang members, sex offenders, and violent criminals off the street. I love it. Now, here's the question. How long is it going to take for most of these criminals to wind up back out on the street? Depending on which state, which city, which blue Democrat Soros-funded prosecutor is in charge. How long is it going to take after all this work? 1,500 violent criminals off the street. When are they going to get back on the street?
Well, I mean, did any police officers lean on their neck?
I hope not, because
I was getting ready to say that's the quickest way to get, someone expunged and claimed, hey, we got to make this guy a saint in the Catholic Church. So, I mean, as far as this whole situation is concerned, I grew up thinking the U.S. Marshals were cool. I mean, I got to see John Wayne as a U.S. Marshal. Have you ever seen The Fugitive?
The Fugitive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the apex.
What's his name? Not Harrison
Tommy
Ford,
Lee Jones.
but yeah, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
I love
Absolutely,
that
like that whole movie is what sets the entire, U.S. Marshals is this law force organization.
So good. I'm glad they're off the street here. 60 fugitives, gang members, sex offenders, violent criminals off the street.
Hope they stay off the street.
Let's keep them in jail. Matt Bear, what's up with traffic?
South side crash eastbound 465 at Emerson Avenue. That's on the left shoulder, and we are stopped back to Harding Street, State Road 37. West side crash on the ramp from northbound 465 to westbound 74. It involves a semi. Right 2 lanes are blocked. It is going to be a slow exit, and we have a backup on that ramp. Traffic sponsored by Indeed.com. When you need to hire, you need Indeed. The hiring solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Ready to do Is This Anything, Tony?
That's my favorite part of the show.
All right. We have America's fastest growing game sensation, Is This Anything, coming up next. 76 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center, 93 WIBC.
Hottest news.
Currently hot. Happening right now.
Summer heat.
Scorching hot inflation.
Gas prices are so high. No end in sight. Border security. The gun violence. Massive red wave. Violent crime in our cities.
Extreme heat.
Stay cool. Stay informed at the top and bottom of the hour.
Timely information.
What you want.
Topics are hot ones.
And what you need.
It's going to be pretty hot out there today.
Beat the summer heat with 93 WIBC.
When you call to have your home or business's heating and air serviced, what do you expect from them? A salesman in a colorful truck? Or do you expect a highly trained expert with your best intentions in mind? The answer is obvious. Call the company that treats you like family. My name's Molly, and I look forward to answering your call.
Family Heating and Air Conditioning is your trusted local independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Think back. Think back to when back or neck pain didn't rule your life. Now, think about standing up to back pain today. Because you can. With highly skilled care from IU Health, Indiana's only nationally ranked healthcare system. Our spine experts use an integrated approach to care and the latest surgical and non-surgical methods, so you can move away from back pain and on with life. Schedule a safe in-office appointment or visit us virtually at iuhealth.org/spine program.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers. Business electronics recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by this weekend's Indianapolis Early Music Festival. Visit iemusic.org for tickets today.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
On 93 WIBC.
All right, Tony Kinnett's in for Hammer. You know the drill, right? You know how Is This Anything works. I'm going to give you a couple of stories. You're going to tell me if they're anything or if it's something that we don't have to worry about. Let's start with our president, Poopy Pants, Joe Biden, giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to 17 Americans, including soccer star Megan Rapinoe and gymnast Simone Biles. Tony, is this anything?
I mean, I'm not really sure that what Simone Biles has done qualifies as, giving someone the Presidential Award of Freedom or whatever, Medal of Citizen Honor, whatever.
Maybe quitting on her team in the Tokyo Olympics.
I'm not really seeing anything. I mean, look, if you want to say what she did was okay, great, but you're not going to get an award for it. There's no reason like this. At the end of the first Harry Potter, Dumbledore gives Harry Potter like a bunch of points at the end of the year for no reason, and everyone else is like, what is going on? That's what this feels like here. It's like, and for being someone I'm quite fond of, the highest honor a citizen can receive. As for Meghan, I mean, she's an embarrassment. Like, her soccer team lost to a group of 15-year-old boys.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In that skirmish. So I don't...
I forgot about that. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. It was embarrassing. Yeah, 15-year-old guys.
Well, look, I mean, and the fact that, you're getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but she's made it known that America is this awful, horrible, oppressive place that people aren't treated equal. I don't know why you'd want anything to do with any sort of government awarded medal.
It brings me great joy that she now has to sit on a list next to Rush Limbaugh, who also received that award.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
She has to endure sitting on a list with Rush Limbaugh, who she despises at the core for being. Enjoy that plaque, sweetie.
Oh, that's great. Okay, next, an Indiana woman. Did you see this? This is crazy. This woman was filmed. An Indiana woman filmed lightning striking her husband's pickup truck that was riding in front of her on her way home to Indiana from Florida. They were in Florida, two-car caravan. For whatever reason, she's filming. There's a big storm coming, and you can hear the lightning followed by her shout. Check out the just.
Is he okay?
Slow-mo. Dude, everybody's okay. It was her husband and her 3 kids that were riding in that Dodge Ram ahead of her, but that lightning strike fried the Dodge Ram. Is this anything? That's something, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's incredible. Anyway, it always reminds me of when someone's like, "And God strike me down if I'm not telling the truth," and it's like, well, that's what happens when you tell your kid tall tales.
The last name of I would love to interview these people because the footage is stunning. Let's see, Michelle and Edward Whalen are their names, and it doesn't get too specific as to where they're from in Indiana. But this poor guy goes, man, I always wanted a Dodge Ram since I was a little kid. I finally was able to get one, and I just made my 3rd car payment. Bam, destroyed. Now, here's something. Here's my question for you. You're a smart guy. You might know something about this, because I know nothing about the insurance industry. I'm wondering if it's not covered by insurance because this is like an act of God kind of thing.
I have no idea. I mean, every single policy is written like a bowl of spaghetti. Anyway.
Yeah. At Hammer and Nigel, if you can, will this guy's truck, this Dodge Ram that got fried by a random bolt of lightning, everybody's okay, again, by the way, but will it be, unless you have a comprehensive plan, I don't know, will they try to get away, will the insurance company try to get out of paying a settlement because it's, quote, an act of God? I mean, it's an interesting question.
My question to this is, can you imagine being the insurance company person who's like, wow, did you hear that story? Like about that people, who are they? Oh, the Whalens. Oh, great. Now I'm going to have to deal with all this paperwork. Well, sir, his truck was struck by lightning. You have to turn that into your super?
Yes! We don't have to claim it. Act of God. Sorry about you.
We only cover bolts under 200,000 degrees.
Yeah. Here's another story about a burning vehicle. Police were able to save the life of a New Jersey man by pulling him out of a burning car. Here's the sergeant talking about how harrowing this experience was. He was the first officer to respond, and 55-year-old this 55-year-old guy was able to get out of this car that was just basically an inferno. Go ahead.
I pulled a Halligan bar out of the trunk of my vehicle. We smashed all the windows out of the car. Come on! All right. Yeah, this is something that you may not experience in a 30-year career. So having been a part of it and a successful job at the end of the day, it's one of the highlights of my career, no doubt about it.
This is something, isn't it? It's heroes. It's police running towards burning cars that could explode at any minute.
Absolutely.
To save a life.
This is what the police are supposed to do. You sign up for this. You go in. It's a dangerous situation. You might get hurt, but you're thinking, no, I've got to get the person out of that situation. I'm charged to protect him. He did his job. Good man.
It's second nature. It's like it's not even in there. I feel like for most of them anyway, it's in there. It's instinct. It's pure adrenaline and instinct to run towards that danger.
That's the kind of person that I want on the line.
Yeah.
Don't you? The person
Absolutely.
whose instinct is to protect and defend. And to take the jaws out and just like rip the burning car open, grab them and pull them out. That's awesome. That's classic Americana to me.
All right, one more thing here for you. The New York City bodega worker.
Oh, this story makes me mad.
Jose Alba freed on a murder rap after bail is lowered in a self-defense case. I guess so. Oh man, this one actually really infuriates me too.
Not that he was set free. He should never have been imprisoned in the first place.
And the radical DA wanted like an excessive $250,000 bail, and they finally got it lowered to like $5,000. So what happened was this bodega owner behind the counter, some thug jumps behind the counter, starts assaulting him. Thug's wife or girlfriend stabbed the bodega owner in the arm. They're pushing him around. Something about she couldn't buy chips because her EBT card was empty. Right, so they're all upset about that. He jumps the counter. He starts pushing this guy around. He starts assaulting this guy. The bodega owner gets up and is trying to get away. The guy grabs him, but the owner manages to get his hand on a knife and shanks this guy in the neck like 5 times.
Yeah.
Died. Good. Bye. But the radical district attorney prosecutor there, the radical DA there, arrested this bodega owner for murder. Tried to get his bail as high as $500,000,
which is insane.
It was set as $250,000, and then it finally got lowered to around, I think, $50,000 or $50,000. I don't know. And they're wanting to charge this guy with murder. He could go to jail for 25 years. Is this anything?
It's absolutely horrific. It absolutely is something because it's where our country is headed. That individuals are like, well, you shouldn't have actually been so violent. You could have just cut him. No, when there was a threat, first of all, before you get to any of this, the moment you assault someone else's rights, your rights go out the window. I have a right not to be harmed by you, but the moment that you break that, your rights are gone. Sorry. Like if you value chips in an EBT card or whatever more than your life, that's in your hands. And if the owner defended himself by going at the guy's neck because he's been stabbed already, the owner's been stabbed, he's been pushed around, the guy's jumped the counter, grabbed him, pulled him, dragged him away. The video's horrible watching what this guy did to this owner. And the owner immediately responded by going for the guy in the one place he knew it would do damage. I mean, if you cut the guy in the neck, the guy's just going to get angrier. Like, oh, you cut my neck.
Did you hear the response of the quote unquote victim's family?
What?
First of all, the lady that stabbed the bodega owner, she's not been charged with anything yet.
What?
No charges for her yet. And then the family of the quote-unquote victim stormed out of the court in tears saying he was murdered in cold blood.
Cold blood? He jumped over the counter and started assaulting him. That's cold blood?
There you go. Welcome to New York City. Even the mayor, even Eric Adams is in this guy's corner. Not the bodega owner. He's calling for his, complete and total vindication on this.
This district attorney should be removed from office. There are people out there who genuinely would prefer that in a situation in which you are attacked, it is better for you to die or be brutally assaulted, physically, sexually, whatever, rather than defend yourself and risk harming the criminal. That's where we are.
You're going to want to stick around. Next, we have a guy that's an energy broker and a consultant. His name is St. Clair Newbern, and we're going to talk about some of these brownouts, these rolling blackouts that have been a possibility that have been happening in California for a long time, but it's never really been talked about here in the Midwest. Up until now, he knows a lot about this stuff, so if you're concerned about rolling blackouts, the possibility of brownouts here in the Midwest, don't go anywhere. We'll talk to him next. That's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Now with Xfinity, you'll get unlimited internet with gig speed and supersonic Wi-Fi. With a 2-year internet rate guarantee, no annual contract required, and no equipment fees.